And welcome back to Thoughts of the Roundtable with me, Matt Rebar.
And me, Paul Laux.
And last time we left you on a cliffhanger. Paul went through an insane plane trip from Dallas and back. And now I think you're going to talk to us about the Dallas experience. Am I right?
I wouldn't necessarily say the Dallas experience. I would say the living in Dallas experience. Does that make sense?
So it's less of a comment of the city of Dallas and more of a hotel accommodation story.
So have you ever used VRBO?
No, and just to clarify, because I think I know what it is. It's like an Airbnb, right?
What it is it's called vacation rental by owner. That's what it stands for. And people will put their homes on there, and it's essentially like it's Airbnb, but like the next level. And it's home. It's homes only. You can't put like apartments on there. You can't put like condos. It's homes.
So what makes it different from like Airbnb? So it's like next level. It's just classier.
It's pretty much the same thing. It's just like, think of it as like shopping at Walmart and shopping at Target. Like just there's a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
No, I can see it.
And so I've used them in the past. They're pretty good. They weren't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think has started to happen when VRBO was the first thing, it was a lot of people who just had vacation homes. Like it was people who legitimately, like, say you lived here in Cleveland and you own a home in Colorado. Like you're rich, you just own a home in Colorado. And it was a nice website for people to be like, okay, I own this property. Instead of doing the whole timeshare BS, I'm just gonna rent it out to people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And some people were cool with that and they would rent it out. And I think what has happened over the years is it kind of got ruined by corporate greed and property managers. And I think what's going on now is a lot of property managers and property companies will just scoop up these homes, have a whole bunch of them, and then they just cycle them. They don't care about the quality of anything or at all. And so we decided we wanted to do the VRBO when we went there because there was a lot of us and it was just easier and it was nicer, you know, have your own home with this one had a pool and everything. And so we do that and we get to it and it's like in a development. It looked okay, but you can tell from the outside, like the landscaping was like, and by the way, anybody who does photography or specifically home photography knows there's ways you can make a home look way better online than what it actually is. And it seemed to be the case here. And so we got into this house and there was missing cabinets like in the kitchen. Like they were like you would pull the drawer out, but the floor of the cabinet wasn't there. Like it was just
that's weird. I don't love that.
And there was open bottles of alcohol all over the house.
Wow.
The kitchen cabinets were like filled with mold. The walls were like covered in just black dirt and like all the moldings were smashed in. The smoke detectors had been removed.
Wait, that's illegal though.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. So the smoke detectors had been removed, and the grass was like knee high.
Oh God!
And there was mold in the bath. It was just a mess. And the outlets, the covers were off, and the outlets were hanging, like the exposed wires just hanging out of the wall, like live wires.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like an apocalyptic video game where like it's like the house is just in ruins. Like it just is like this cyberpunk, just like apocalyptic doom. And some of the things seem like, okay, like the cabinets, like on its own, weird, but like whatever. But you add all those things together and you're like, dude, I am paying you money for this vacation house. Right.
Yeah, let me send you some of the pictures I took, because I took pictures of this.
Great. And I can describe them to everybody with my descriptive language.
Yeah, let me just stand by and scroll back to these real quick, because you are going to lose your mind. Give me 1 second.
I've only used Airbnb one time and it was actually a great experience, but I've heard that it's been going downhill big time.
I think that's what's going on with VRBO. And because when I first had used it, it was not that bad. But it just kind of got and the screen door on the storm door was held together with tape. I forgot about that one. But it's one of those things where I think companies like they just take advantage of it and they try to get money off it, and they ruin a good thing. Like when VRBO started, it was just rich people with extra homes who would then let people rent them. But now it's companies, and that's what this was. It was a property company. And let me just send these to you real quick so you can kind of understand what's going on here. I'm sending you it's sending an iCloud link. So because I sent you a whole bunch.
Okay. Let's take a looky-loo.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it to come in.
So anyways, and I sent you their rating scale because I'm not going to say what I thought of it when I first read it. Just see it and whatever.
All right. So it's loading. And the first picture I see, it's like a cup of alcohol. Is that what it is supposed to be?
I don't know. It was just a mystery liquid.
It says it's being uploaded. Oh wow, these must be so heinous that it's taking forever to upload. Yeah, and it's like and like this isn't like me being trying to be picky, but the shelf that it's on looks like musty and like
it was covered in mold.
Yeah, I don't love that. All right, let me maybe I need to close out of messages because it's like loading and it's taking its good old time to load. Okay, so let's do the ratings. Yeah, then I can look through the photos more.
Well, I sent you a picture of the rating. So when you get that, let me know because I want you to see if you catch what I caught. But anyways, so, and mind you, we had kids with us at the time, and this home was like also, it was like the most gaudy home I've ever seen. Like I expected like the crown jewels to be in the corner. Like there was just like nasty gaudy furniture, like stuff you would see in like the Titanic. Yeah. And are they coming through now?
A little bit. I think I wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi for some reason. Okay, so we have the cup of mystery liquid. We have, so it's like the under the sink. You know how you have under the sink, you put like all the cleaners and stuff. We have one of those, but it looks musty, man. It just does not look musty.
And the pictures don't do it justice of how terrible it actually was. It was like heinous.
Okay, so I'm seeing the drawer. So you took out the drawer and there's what? Like,
no, the drawer. That's how it was when I found it. It was just sitting on Peninsula like that.
Oh my God! So that's how you found it. So literally, it's like one of those like silverware drawers, like before, like on the cabinets, you have like the smaller drawers. It's one of those literally pulled out and just left
ripped out. Yep, just set on the counter.
I don't get like, did the owner just be like, oh, it's broken, but like they're gonna want this? Like,
I'm not sure the owner ever saw this. I don't think he lives nearby or anything.
Oh my God. No, so this one light socket literally like it's just like half off, half on. Like that's just like, how do they not like just like oh my God. Oh, this is my favorite so far. So there's an outlet and something's plugged into the outlet.
The TV
is a TV. And then it's like cut into the wall like it's a mystery like wire. But then it's not even cut in the wall like where it's like a small hole. It's like a gaping like mouse-sized hole in the wall for the TV cord.
That's such an interesting way to sneak wires behind. Just put it through the wall.
They're not gonna notice, right? This next one, okay, this might be, oh my God. It is a door and it is like musty as heck. I mean, there's just no other way to say like it just is like the door is white and it's so dirty and nasty. It's like a dark gray. It's so bad.
It's black. It was black.
And then, you have another outlet here with no outlet cover, which like on its own, again, it's one thing, but in culmination. Oh, what? Okay. So I'm seeing a very chipped wooden, what do you call that? Like wraparound
It's a molding.
piece?
It's a baseboard.
The molding. Well, talking about a moldy molding. And then like the wall is like it looks like a meteor on the moon. Doesn't it look like it's like
yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, another wall pick. Oh God.
Yeah.
It just looks dirty. Okay. So it says review star ratings. This is their suggested ratings.
Yes, this is
okay.
I want to see if you catch what I caught immediately.
Okay. First of all, I hate they have a very like signature-y font that's like a little
it's hard to read.
Legible. Yeah, it's very hard to read. We hope you enjoyed your stay. As part of the process, please consider that the ratings differ from the classic rating system. Our property can be shut down if our ratings drop below 4.3 stars. The system can be confusing, So we create an example of what the star ratings actually stand for.
By the way, can I hold on? Can I pause?
My God, yeah.
I asked VRBO about this. None of this is true.
Okay. So according to this property, a 5-star out of, like, just to clarify, it's 5 out of 5. 5 stars out of 5 stars means not perfection, but a great place to stay. Not perfection.
It's not perfection. It's 5 out of 5, but somehow it's still, so basically the highest rating you could give them is still like, it's not the best. Like, they are already setting the bar so low.
Well, here's the problem I have is, okay, I never expect perfection, right? I don't think anyone, like 3-4 star hotels, like I go, something's gonna happen, that's fine. But to be like, okay, it wasn't perfect, but it was super awesome. You know, we had a fantastic, there was only, if I had a, you know, it was so fantastic that the little issues I had, right? It was still super fantastic. Well, the highest rating, they admit this. It's not perfect and it's great. It's just great. It's a great place to stay, which isn't that high of a compliment, I think.
When you think about it, it's actually genius because it forces people to push up a higher rating. If you lower the bar of the ratings themselves, it forces people to give a higher rating. Mm-hmm. Because
go ahead.
People normally say, oh, this is, you know, it's pretty good. You know, there's a couple of things, but you would think of like a 4 out of 5, maybe 3.5. But
Paul, I can't, because like the idea with the 5-star rating is 5 stars is like, this was amazing, I would recommend. 4 stars is great, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're 4 stars. Are you ready for this? This is Paul. I feel like this is like, it can't be true, because it's like they're admitting that there's like, they admit that like, it's kind of bad. 4 stars. So if you give them a 4 out of 5, the venue says that you think several issues that need improvement. That to me is a 3. Several issues,
but
several issues.
It's forcing you to push to a higher rating. They're skewing it in their favor. It's genius, really.
Question 3, or not question 3. So 3 stars, 3 out of 5 stars for this property. They say that means major problems with the property that should be corrected. Ooh, that's not a 3-star experience. If I go to a restaurant and there are major problems that should be corrected, that's not 3 stars, babe. That's like 2. They've really done a good job. They've really like
wait till you get to 1. Just wait till you get to 1.
So 2 stars. This property should not be listed. Wow.
We've already reached that at this property, by the way. Like, this is where we're at.
Again, if this property should not be listed, isn't that like 0 stars? Like, would you even give a star?
You would think.
That's like, it shouldn't be listed. AKA, I shouldn't be paying money. You shouldn't be selling the service. That's not 2 stars. That's 0 stars, right?
Yes.
So then I don't know how they came up with this. This one's funny to me because it's just like, what's worse than like, don't even list the property? What's worse than saying our business is not legitimate? 1 star. They say a 1-star rating for their property means, in their system, would not wish this listing on my worst enemy.
Isn't it the best? I just love it every time I read this, and this fancy font and everything. It's the best. It truly is.
The audacity of them to then say, if you happen upon any issues during your stay, please contact us and we'll make it our priority to fix it. What?
So he want me to continue my saga?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we've gone through this house. It is a literal dump. Like, it should be condemned. And we've just made the decision, okay. And, you know, I kind of miss the vacations when you're a kid, because when you went on vacation with your parents, your family, and you're a kid, if anything went wrong, you really weren't responsible for it. It's like your parents are there to figure it out, you know? And it was one of those moments in my life where it's like, oh my God, I am the adult now. I have to figure this out. You know, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, now this
you're the captain.
It's like, okay,
captain of the ship.
It's like, and there was obviously a couple of adults there. It's like, okay, we're not going to stay here. What do we do now? And so we're like, let's call. Well, first of all, they had left contact information. It's like, if you have any, like, not on this paper, but there's, if you have any issues, just give us a call. This is my cell phone number. This is who I am. So we called, and it's like, it was like laid out in this like perfect little folder on the kitchen table. And so I was like, okay, let's call them and see what we can do. and tell them of this issue. So we call them, and it was this lady, and she answers the phone, and we're saying, hey, we're at one of your properties. She goes, oh, okay, yeah. And we keep going. We tell her about the issues and everything. And she goes, well, the problem is, she goes, I don't own that anymore. I sold it 3 months ago. And so the property manager who has it now just left the contact information on the table. So if anybody had issues, they would just call her.
Wait. Okay. So the house you were staying at with the arbitrary star system says, hey, girl, if you have an issue, if this house sucks, which it did, call this number. And it turned out to be the number of someone who sold that house 3 months ago. So she has she's like, I have no, like, that's not my property. It's not my list.
No, she sold it. She goes, I sold it to the property company. I don't own it anymore. I have nothing to do with it.
So, okay. I have multiple reactions. A, did they just like do that on purpose? 2, did they like, was she, when she owned it, was she renting it out and they were like, we'll just rent it out too? And like left everything?
When she owned the home, she did not rent it.
Okay.
She did not rent it. And so the home was probably not in the best shape, but whatever. She wasn't renting it out. It was her home. Who cares? But when we first ran into this, and by the way, how shady is that? And I'm like, feel like that's like borderline illegal to do. Just put some random person's contact information where they're like, hey, call this person.
I mean, it's fraudulent, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's one thing to be like, we put the wrong phone number, like instead of our business in Wichita, it's our Wyoming number, or like we're off by a digit, you know.
Right.
But you're telling me in 3 months, how many people do you think have rented that house out?
Well, they printed up this nice little brochure and everything, and they put this woman's number on it. Like it was a printed thing. So anyways,
was that the first time she like knew about it?
It seemed like she was taken off guard. Yeah.
Okay. So they basically been lucky that you're the first person. Cause I'm assuming there has to be other people who've rented this house.
Right.
And they've just been like too scared to contact or just like, no big deal. Or were you the first person they rented it out to?
I can't. Well, here's the thing. And we were thinking about that, but it was really hard to tell because there was no reviews on this except one. There was 1 5-star. There was no comments on it. It was just 1 5-star. And we know what that means. So
it means that it's not perfect, but great.
So we call VRBO. We were on hold with them for 2 hours before we got to someone, because with VRBO, you can message the property owners, but you can't call them. It doesn't give you their phone numbers. And so we waited on hold for 2 hours to eventually get through. And they're like, yeah, we'll get you. We explained the whole situation. It's like, we need to talk to this owner. And they're like, yeah, we'll get you his information. We're going to put you on hold. All of a sudden, hear the boop, boop, boop. They just hang up.
And was it on purpose?
Yeah. Well, we didn't think that at first. So we called VRBO back, waited another hour on this. Now we've been on hold for 3 hours. No joke. My God. We finally get a hold, and they finally give us the name of the property owner. We call the guy, and to this day, I don't know what to make of this guy, because either he was a really, really good actor or he was legitimately taken off guard. I haven't decided which way. Because he was seemingly very concerned about the things we had brought up, and he wasn't local, and he admitted that. And he said he bought the house and he hired a property management company to handle it for him. And he was genuinely upset. He like seemed genuinely upset by it.
Okay.
And we asked for like, hey, we're going to leave. We want our money back. And he said, no problem. I get it. That's fine. But the problem is I don't have, because we already paid the money. He goes, I don't have the money. VRBO does.
Wait, what?
Which is actually true. You pay VRBO, and then after the stay, VRBO then gives the money to the so that was my Audacity closed. So do you have the recording?
I'm recording this. Yeah, you're all good.
Okay. So I'll step back. So that actually is true. That was because we found that out later, that was truthful. And so he goes, when I get the money, I can send it back to you or have VRBO return it. He goes, whatever, either way, I'm going to fire the property company. Don't leave a bad review. And so we were actually pretty satisfied with that. And in his defense, beyond that, there really wasn't more he could do. Like that was pretty much the end of the line for him. He couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And because we looked it up online, like how the payments go through, and he was telling the truth that he doesn't get the money till the end.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, now we just need to handle VRBO because they got to handle all this stuff. And whether we wanted to believe this guy with the property firing them or not, whatever. But he goes, just don't leave a bad review. We're like, okay. So we move on and we go back to VRBO and we wait on hold for another hour and a half. And then we say, hey, we're going to find some place else. Help us out. And like, okay, we have a relodging department. Let us connect you to them. Okay. Beep, beep, beep. They hang up.
No.
So,
oh my God. I'd be so livid.
I'd
be so livid.
Well, I'm pretty calm at the moment because I've been through this. The situation's done. At the moment, we were just like slowly just getting worse and worse. And mind you, I have a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old with me who are losing their shit at this point.
Oh.
And so it's getting worse and worse and worse. We're like, holy shit. And again, it's the moment where, okay, we're the good adults in this situation. You got to find, and it's getting darker in the day. Oh, mind you, they said there was going to be a crib in this place for my son. There was none. So now at this point, it's about 9:00 at night.
How can you say that? How can you be like, there's going to be a crib? There's no crib.
It literally listed, it's like, oh, there's a crib for kids. There was none. So the kid is the 5-month-old wants to go to bed, screaming his head off because there's no place for him to go to bed. Adeline is screaming because she's tired. So me and Katie are like, okay. And Katie are like, what are we going to do now? So, and Katie's parents are with us too. I should preface that. And they were the ones doing all the calling as Katie and I were trying to wrangle the kids. And so eventually we called them back in and said, hey, what are we doing? You got to help us out here. And they said, okay, let us send you, like, you hung up on us. Don't hang up on us again. Like, okay, we'll send you over there. Beep, 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 beep. Hang up again after another hour.
Oh my God. Do you think it's like something like on their end, like their phone system? Like, cause like it feels like
I'm foreshadowing. I'm foreshadowing. Foreshadowing with them.
Okay.
So we keep calling and calling and calling. And it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I think it was, and mind you, it was like 106 degrees. It was humid. We were miserable. And it got to the point where it was like, I kid you not, it was 11 o'clock at night. We're sitting in the car in a Subway parking lot. And it's like 104 degrees at this point.
That's like a Lana Del Rey song.
We're just like, we had just been on a plane. We just been on a plane traveling all that morning. We're just tired. We're soaked with sweat. Just like, oh my Christ. Yeah. And so we're like, what are we going to do? And so we're like, let's call one more time and try to figure this out and see if they can just pay for a hotel. So like we get a hold of them after another hour, 45 minutes on hold or something like that. We're like, transfer to the student apartment, but I swear to Christ, if you hang up on us, like, do not fucking hang up on us. So they transfer us. We get to the relodging thing. And he goes, okay, hold on. Let me just check into something. Like, okay. And mind you, this whole situation, we started calling VRBO about 3:00 in the afternoon, 3:30ish. At this point, it's about 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11-ish in that range. I don't remember exactly. So we finally get through to them and they're like, okay, we can try to relodge you in a place tomorrow, but we don't relodge anybody after 8 p.m. And so they're basically like, you're on your own tonight, kid. And they're like, are you fucking kidding me?
My
like,
God.
And I told him, like, we wouldn't be in this goddamn situation if you actually didn't put people on hold for 3 hours. And then like we were on hold for literally like 4 or 5 hours. No, I'm not even kidding. And it's like, we wouldn't be in this situation at 10 o'clock at night if you didn't put us on hold for that long and kept hanging up. It's your fault. They're like, well, we don't relodge after 8 p.m. I'm like, you're missing the point. This is your fault. Your fault that it's 10 p.m. And so
I agree on two things. First of all, what if you had a customer, like what if the house burned down? We don't relodge after 8 p.m.
That's it. Yeah. They said,
like, I feel like that's so, A, it's bad business, but B, like, as like, I mean, in their company, they're not like, you know, a human, but like, dude, like, I'd be like, oh, like, no worries. Like, let's try and find something for you.
Well, so we get this guy and we're like, whatever. We eventually, like, Katie gets on her phone. She goes, I'm just going to find a hotel for the night. It shouldn't be that, it can't be that hard. So she finds one and nearby. And in the meantime, this guy, we hang up the phone with him because at this point he goes, just call us tomorrow. I'm like, there's nothing more we can do tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, like we get back to a hotel. It's like midnight at this point. And he emails us this place. He goes, hey, I think I can lodge you in this. Do you want this for your trip? And so, but he sent us to like 11:30 and we didn't get in the hotel like midnight, 12:30 or something. So we didn't see it till the next, like, well, I shouldn't say the next morning. It was like 1 a.m. or something. And so we responded like, hey, yeah, that's fine. Let's do this. And we only got the hotel for one night. So the next morning we have to leave. And so we were basically homeless for the first 48 hours in Dallas. And so we call them and they're like, yeah, we'll transfer to that person. They hang up. We call them again. Wait another 40 minutes. Yeah, we'll transfer you. They hang up. And so we try for a third time. Another 45 minutes. Yeah, we'll transfer you. They hang up again 3 times after like an hour of waiting each.
I'm speechless. What?
And so eventually we get to this person. It's like, hey, you sent this to us. We'd like to be lodged there. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. and so we're like, whatever. We're like, we just want a refund. We'll find a hotel for the rest of the time. Just give us the refund. And so they're like, well, maybe, basically. They're like, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. And so they basically were like, for more or less told them, we're not going to give you the refund, whatever. And we're not going to relodge you. And so then we couldn't even, after that, we couldn't even get through. Like the phone calls weren't even going through anymore.
Are you serious?
And so what we ended up doing is like, they're like, okay, clearly we've hit the road with them. They're not gonna, we ended up just finding a hotel for the rest of the time. But mind you, and as I'm saying it sounds so calm and relaxed, but in the moment, it was one of the most chaotic things I've ever.
Well, no, because you're not only are you on hold with them, but like you have a whole family vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're also trying to enjoy yourself, but then also it's like, where are we gonna stay? I mean,
and it was like, it was hot, and you have screaming kids with you, and it was just how we made it through this. I will never understand. And so eventually we're like, you know what we're going to do? Okay, this is what we're going to do. Clearly they're done with us. We're done with them. We got a hotel for the rest of the trip. We're going to go home. We're going to try to enjoy this trip. When we get back, we're going to fight the charge on the credit card. That'll work. And so we eventually, so the trip goes through and everything. And we get back home, we fight the charge. And sure enough, the bank gives us the money back. So we beat VRBO. Long story short,
love that.
We finally beat them. So then, and that was basically what we learned. And then we went on a couple forums, and what we learned is VRBO was really nice for a while. Like in the beginnings, it was real nice, and it's people renting out their homes. But then we came to the property management situation, crap like that, and it got worse. And I guess their go-to is to literally, like, what they do to people that they don't want to deal with is exactly, they literally mark them, will keep them on hold for an hour. And then when they're done dealing with them and say, yeah, we'll transfer you. And then they just hang up on them. Like that is their, like,
are you serious?
There's a whole forum set to this. It's like,
how are they in business?
It's called the VRBO hang up, where if they don't like you, they'll just keep you on hold for like about an hour-ish. And then they get to like, yeah, I'll help you out, transfer you and hang up. Like that's their thing. That's what they do. And basically your only goal is to just keep fighting and fighting and fighting, because they're waiting for you to just give up.
Yeah,
basically. And so that if you're ever at all renting with VRBO, my first advice is don't at this point.
Oh my God.
A couple of years ago when we would do it, it was a company that we enjoyed. We rented a couple homes in Arizona. It worked really well. But it's down the dump. So until they figure their shit out, I would avoid them and just go with the classic hotel. But so it gets a little bit better. So this guy, we kind of got my in-law kind of got we got to bug up our ass from this situation. We got the money back and everything, so we're good there, but we're just kind of pissed. And so we went to the listing, and we weren't supposed to, because we told the guy we wouldn't, but we left a bad review, and we said this, what happened in this situation and everything. And all of a sudden we just see the listing go away, the whole listing for the home go away. And we're like, oh, that's interesting. The next day it's relisted and it says new listing. And it says like, it's the same listing for the home, just new. But because they listed it as a new listing, all of the reviews went away. because it's a new listing. And also, it
Oh.
doesn't, you can only people who have stayed at the property can leave a review. And
Mhm.
so it no longer thinks we stayed there. So we can't leave a review again. And so it's just a clean slate.
Oh
And
my
so basically, we found out what
gosh.
this guy does is every time he gets a bad review, he just delists it and then relists it. So all the bad reviews are gone. And then anybody who did
What?
leave a bad review can't leave a review anymore. So that's the trick. We found the trick out. And that's what he did. We left an
Oh,
honest bad review and he just delists it, relists it. And so then it wipes his slate clean.
Jesus Christ.
And you're back
What?
to
Like,
square one.
and like, what can you do? Like,
You can't do anything.
you can't do anything.
You can't do anything. And
Um,
the worst, I think the most egregious thing. Oh, and I told you I'd come back to this. Is like the smoke detectors were just removed
mhm.
from the ceiling. Like they were
That's
just
just
taken off and they were set on
illegal.
the, well, they were set on the floor, just like set on the
Mhm.
floor. And so he tells the guy, he's like, you know, all your smoke detectors are off the ceiling and just sitting on the floor. And he goes, well, they still work. I'm like, yeah, but they got to be up there because smoke goes up there.
Mhm.
So, which by the way, it is 100% illegal. You can't remove or tamper with smoke detectors in rental homes. Just FYI, in case you're a rental owner,
Mhm.
you can't do
Just in
that
case,
at
yeah,
all in any
you're
way.
not sure, you know.
Yeah, you can't do that at all in any way. So that was the VRBO experience. It was,
It's shocking. I mean, it's like you hear these kind of horror stories, but like you really don't think like it's gonna happen, and it
and
happened.
well, and I felt bad because, like I said, my family and I have rented homes in like Arizona with VRBO before,
Mhm.
but we did it, I think, when the company was new enough to where it didn't really get corrupted by stuff, you know?
Mhm.
And like the lady who we rented a home from, it was just a lady who would just, she lived in Denver. She just had a home.
Mhm.
And so if anything went wrong, even though she was in Denver, she would just like handle it right there, you
Mhm.
know? Or like I remember one time we showed up and there was like someone had stolen all of the soaps in the home, like literally stole everything. And so she goes, whatever, just buy some and I'll reimburse you. She did. She was great. And so, but I think what has gone on is shitty, shystery, dim-witted
Mhm.
property companies come in, take advantage of it, and they learn the tricks and how to get around.
Mhm.
And they beat the system like this. And then VRBO doesn't care. They're still getting the money. They
Mhm.
couldn't care less. And so it kind of just has become, it just kind of got ruined, you know, and it's a shame because I think it was a great idea, but I feel like it's kind of I call it the America syndrome. Like there's a good
Mhm.
idea, a good business that can really help people, but it just kind of gets tampered down by greed after a while
I think
and
you see parallels
scams.
too. You see parallels too between like these issues and what's happening with like DoorDash and Uber. You know, this whole share economy is in theory a good idea, but I think when executed under a society that's very individualistic, they don't care. They don't care about like if you didn't get your food, you don't get a refund, or maybe you did give the food and the person claimed you didn't give the food and like you get fired and you know, and the driving conditions and like, you know, it's hard though because it's like how do you regulate this? How do you know how maybe they don't even have a system where they recognize, oh, that's the same listing from earlier. Oh, this is a listing that gave us problems earlier. Like it's crazy, and
Well, the problem is that needs and relies on the company itself being diligent and almost kind of self-governing and thinking like in VRB thinking like, okay,
Mhm.
this property is on our platform. They've
Mhm.
caused problems several times. This person's a clear issue. We're just going to cut them out and say, you know what, you guys are done. You're not listing here anymore. But in what happens in reality is they don't care. They're
Mhm.
as long as they're getting money, they don't care. There's going to be a next person. There's going to be somebody else who stays there, and they don't care if the property owners figure out the system where if they, you know, delist and relist,
Mhm.
that it fixes it. They don't care because at the end of the day, they're just getting money, so they don't
Mhm.
care as much about who stays there.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just, I think it bothers me because it was such a good idea, and I think that's what upsets me the most. It was such a good idea and it was so enjoyable, but it's just like, why do we have to ruin
Mhm.
everything that we come up with? Everything. And I mean, I'm never gonna, stay with them again. I'm never gonna do that again. And it's just, and it's also a bummer for the people who are on these platforms and are legitimate, because they lose out stuff too. Like I could easily find something that is, owned by a person, and they're going to lose out that business too. So it's a shame that this is kind of the path things have gone down, but that's almost just what happens with almost everything. You've seen with, like you said, I remember when Uber was beginning, it was really cool. It was a really cool rideshare app. And then it just slowly got dirtier and scammier and just gross to use after a while. And now it's just ungodly expensive. It's just a bummer. It really is. But and until they fix it,
I still pick up my food. I mean, it just is what it is. But
did you see what happened with Uber, by the way, though?
Well, we only have a minute left in the Zoom call because
okay.
So let's save that for next time. And if anyone has any experiences, please write in to me.
Sounds good.
Text me. But
part 3 is next.
They're like the reunion special. Wow. I'm still in shock. I'm in shock, but not in disbelief.
I have more. So I do want to do a part 3. So I'll give you one.
Okay,
more
we'll do a part 3 and a roundup. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Peace out.
Later.